The Tampa Bay Lightning benefited from a late own goal against the Washington Capitals, but still could not come out with the loss. We'll talk about last night's game before we talk turkey on today's episode of Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning,
part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Josh Sperber here, thanking all of you for tuning in to Locked On Lightning and making Locked On Lightning your first listen every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if your team is the Tampa Bay Lightning, then this is the show for you. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And we're going to get started doing some laughing at Charlie Lindgren, a little bit less than I was initially planning on, because I could not help but think how funny it would have been if that goal, that own goal, where Charlie Lundgren literally just backhand passed it, shoveled it into his own net. I thought that was going to be the decider for a second, but a late surge by the Capitals helped them take over the game. And Brayden Point is someone we're going to be talking more about in this next episode, but he was the one who touched last, and that Lindgren own goal gave him a hat trick. His fourth since November 2023, fifth of his career, and the fifth most in Lightning history. Couple of power play goals. He leads the team with 8 power play goals, and he also leads the entire NHL. Point has also scored in 12 of 17 games played, 71% highest so far in the NHL, and the first time since 2009 and 2010. So in 15 years, it has been since the third goal of a hat trick was on the own goal. And after that own goal, you saw two very different reactions from the Lightning and the Capitals. The Lightning, I think, were just so flabbergasted that that goal even got into the net that they didn't really know what to do next. And I don't know if if something the Capitals just sensed or something like that, but it just seemed, especially on defense, Carlson took the next possession just straight into the net. He was not having an own goal be the deciding factor. And then Tom Wilson on a power play that irked me a little bit, because look, I understand that the refs have to call that. Drew blood. It was certainly not purposeful that Cirelli's stick did end up catching the face mask of a Capitals player, but getting a double minor on that at that point in the game was just a backbreaker for the Lightning, and it really showed. It just seemed like all the wind was sucked out of the stadium after the Cirelli high sticking penalty, which also called back what would have been a goal in his 7th consecutive game. So not only did the Lightning erase a game-tying goal, but they put one of their key players in the penalty box for 4 minutes during a crucial situation. And less than a minute after that power play began, Tom Wilson ended up tipping in the game-winning goal. So just a really tough way for the Lightning then to end this game. And, the players, the coaches obviously were upset after this one, but this is just one of those crazy games. Maybe the Capitals should have had a bigger advantage without that Lindgren goal. I mean, you can talk about that, but that mistake was still made. And then the problem was the Lightning just made more mistakes right after that. Just a really tough way to end that game, but you got to think that that's a fluke. Aside from the fact that Charlie Lindgren goal is something I don't think I will ever forget. That was one of the just strangest, most how in heck did that even happen? He literally just threw it into his own net. I mean, it was just one of those things that you can expect to see or happen. You just have to believe it happened and enjoy that something that crazy did happen. But I will tell you this, I'm going to be watching the not top 10 plays, and I'd like to see that Charlie Lindgren goal at the top of it, because I don't know how you can top that. That is just the most not top 10 play I think I will ever see. Just unbelievable. But without that, I mean, the Lightning, they really started off strong, but they didn't keep up the same level of play in the first period. It just kind of declined. And I think part of that was Washington is really playing like a hungrier team without Alex Ovechkin right now. You know, you've got a young group of guys for the most part without their captain, without the greatest player in franchise and maybe even NHL history. After when Ovechkin did play against the Lightning, he was eliminated from the game. The Lightning completely took him out of that shutout win in October against Washington. And then they come back without Ovechkin and provide one of the more improbable comeback wins you're going to see. And I use the word improbable, especially after that Charlie Lindgren goal, just because that was something that you just wouldn't expect to happen. I mean, it's just a very strange ending, and I think it's a fluke loss, but, you know, there are things that the Lightning still need to work on. Each team was 1 for 3 on the power play. The Lightning actually out-hit the Capitals, but the Lightning being outshot and badly losing in the face-off battle is an issue. It's something that I've said time and time again throughout the season. With a team that has as much offensive talent as the Tampa Bay Lightning, for one, but also really relies so much on their offense to keep them in games and to, you know, get them points, not just goals, but points in the standings. The Lightning are really a team that relies on their offensive firepower. Because of that, especially when you're playing a team without their star player, you can't be outshot. And that was, I think, a problem because the Capitals, frankly, had more chances than the Lightning did, and they took advantage of more of those chances. So, I mean, you got to look, you know, the Lightning had 28 shots on net, and one of their goals was scored by the Capitals goalie. So, you know, it's hard to say the Lightning need to make more of their shooting chances because it's not like the Lightning were shooting bad shots all game. You know, were all their shots perfect? No, probably not. But I'm not going to these games and seeing Tampa just make terrible decisions shooting. They're getting the looks, they're shooting the right shots, just even regardless of the good game that Lindgren did have. He did have a solid game aside from the own goal. Um, you know, that just kind of overshadows everything on Lindgren's side. But he did make some really good saves on breakaways and some in tight spots as well that made things difficult for the Lightning. And I think the overpassing that we talked about in the last episode was not as evident. But again, it's just the Lightning offense in the early period was running great. The fourth line looked great. Quick goal, you know, at the end of the second period really looked like it put the Lightning back in the driver's seat. And then, you know, almost immediately into the third, the Capitals tie it. Lindgren gives the Lightning the lead back, and then it's all Capitals in the last 10 minutes. And just having them break the tie after a really accidental penalty, I mean, you know, it was the right call. I'd love to be able to say it was just a terrible decision by the refs. It's just more of a kind of read the room penalty. But the fact was, the blade of Cirelli's stick got too high and caught someone in the face. The refs are going to call that every single time. Just that happening so late in the game with around 4 or 5 minutes left in the contest, not just putting the Lightning on the penalty kill, but nullifying what would have been a Lightning go-ahead goal had Cirelli's stick not made contact with Dylan Strome. And it's just a really frustrating way for the Lightning to lose a game. I mean, I really hope they don't get a worse loss just in terms of frustration and really the fact that they had it. But at the end of the game, it was just the Capitals who were capitalizing on their chances at the end of it. A tough way for the Lightning to lose, but certainly a silver lining to that dark cloud on Thanksgiving Eve, and that's Brayden Point. He has been on an absolute tear with 7 goals after his injury spell in the last 5 games that he has been back active for the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're going to talk about the impact that Point has on the Lightning offense right after these messages. Get ready to tackle the NHL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win that $5 bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, the NHL, any league you want, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the exact same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com. So never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And let's get straight to the point. In segment number 2, we talked a little bit about some of Brayden Point's heroics, getting the first 2 goals of the game, including his second on a power point. He leads the league in power point goals, 7 goals in his last 5 games, 5th most hat tricks in Lightning history, and in the top 3 of power play goals score, his 97th career power play goal. And he is ready to become the 4th Lightning player to reach 100 power play goals with the team. Steven Stamkos, Marty St. Louis, the other 2. 20 points this season for Point, 15 goals and 5 assists. Those 15 goals for Brayden Point are number 1 on the Tampa Bay Lightning, 3 more than Nikita Kucherov. Point-wise, he is 5th, which is also 5th among forwards, with a +4. Plus or minus margin. And Point also has been excelling on the faceoffs. He has won 51% of his faceoffs, which is good for 3rd on the team, excluding if you include Cam Atkinson and Luke Glendening, who haven't taken as many faceoffs, then it is certainly then it would be Brayden Point 3rd on the team. Without them, he would be 5th on the Lightning team in face-off percentage. And for a guy who is taking more face-offs than anybody else on the Lightning, that's pretty good. So in really every part of the game, Brayden Point is excelling. He's never been much of a passer. He's a guy that if he gets in within a couple feet of the pipes, it's going in. And that was absolutely the case on those 2 goals against Washington. I mean, he just seemed to find open space and got in untouched on those 2 goals and was able to make some key plays for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And he was someone who did sound off on the just frustration after the team loses. And that is, I mean, it's a tough game to lose for anyone on the Lightning team, but especially for a player like Point, who did so much to get the Lightning out in front early and keep the offensive pressure up. I mean, it's got to be extra tough for him, but he's been on a big run. He was someone that I said at the beginning of the season that really needed to step up for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it certainly has. When they need a goal, he's got one. I mean, that game against Pittsburgh, which was his first game back from injury, late in the game, the Lightning down 2-0 in the 3rd period. Who starts that rally but Brayden Point? Then in overtime, it's Point who comes back with the goal. It just seems like so many of his goals are in key moments. And, I mean, the power play goals are a perfect example. 8 power play goals, 7 even strength goals for Brayden Point. So more than 50% of the goals he has scored this year have been on extra man opportunities. And I'm sure there are going to be some haters who are going to say something about that he's not good enough to do it on even strength or some kind of crap, but you'd be wrong. I mean, he's just a guy that is on a stacked first line with a bunch of players that just know how to put the puck in the net. Kucherov and Gensel are two of the more balanced players in the league that are just as adept as creating goal scoring chances with their passing as they are with their shots. Point is really the only player on that first line whose primary objective is to just score goals. So he's done that. And doing it on the power play when he is essentially just moving up a slot in terms of who the Lightning are feeding the puck to on power play goals. I mean, Cooper even said it at the end of the game that the Lightning have had the same power play for 15 years with Steven Stamkos being that main target. Now it might be Brayden Point. And I think that is, it seems like the way the Lightning are game planning, especially when looking at Nikita Kucherov's stats. 13 power play points, 1 goal, 12 assists, and he has been one of the assist providers for a good majority of Brayden Point's power play goals, including the one in the first period last night. And, I'm not going to try and say that because of Point's recent success scoring, particularly on the power play, that he can match Steven Stamkos in terms of his skill on the power play and frankly, just in general, as Stamkos seems like he's going to be a shoo-in for the Hockey Hall of Fame one day. I do think, however, that Brayden Point is on pace, and if he stays with the Lightning long enough, which I believe he will, he's going to end up scoring more power play goals for Tampa than Stamkos, and I believe he is going to get to the number that Stamkos had in a shorter time. He is just, his reflexes are so quick, and it's really turned him into that kind of answer. So I think Point could be that, the extra trigger man that the Lightning have really been looking for on the power play. It certainly seems like something that he wants to do. This is just a guy who loves to put the puck in net, and he finds difficult ways to do it. And I think that it's really time, maybe not to give Point the reins to the power play. I still like the way that the Lightning run it, with a lot of it coming into Kucherov's hands, because you never know what he's going to do. He's got, a nasty slap shot. He can quickly snap it past the goalkeeper, and he can also pass it. And it was something that if you watch the power plays closely, you saw a lot of Kucherov going into his slap shot motion with an open look, ready to go on the power play, ready to try and power one past the goalie. But instead he made it a pass, and it changes the defense's eyes and where they go. It just confuses everyone on the rink, on the ice. And I think just having the puck in Kucherov's hands to lead that power play is in the Lightning's best interest. Again, I don't think that's something that's going to change, but I do think that it's going to mean more and more power play targets for Brayden Point. I think, especially the way he started the season, it seems only right that Point starts just getting more looks on the power play, because it's worked. He's just been so effective on extra man opportunities. And I think the Lightning really need to try and game plan to that as much as they possibly can. Kucherov is still going to be the general, the point guard, the quarterback, whatever you want to call it, on the power play. The Lightning offense will still run through his stick, because frankly, there are a few players that match his creativity on the planet. He's just that good. But there is no one that I trust more on the power play right now than Brayden Point, plain and simple. He has just been lights out shooting in general, but particularly on the power play. He has just been absolutely dynamite. And, I think that's something that the Lightning can really use. The power play has been a topic of conversation in just about every post-game interview. It's something that they focus on in practice a good bit. It's something that has been an important part of this Lightning's offensive identity for the last couple of years. And now it just seems like they're playing catch up, and they're really just, reconfiguring and figuring out again how to work that power play without Steven Stamkos. And, the answer seems plain and simple: feed Brayden Point. He's someone I expect to get a whole lot of targets in the next couple of games, and he's someone that could be on the winning end of a milestone assist that is inching closer and closer for the Lightning captain, Victor Hedman, moving within one of tying Marty St. Louis for the Lightning's overall franchise assist record at 588. And he moved within 1 point of passing Marty on the day of Jon Cooper's 900th game as a Tampa Bay Lightning coach. And we will talk about those milestones when we come back. Welcome back into Locked On Lightning, and we've talked about a couple of milestones over the course of the season. It's something that the Lightning have been able to hit. Zemgus Girgensons is coming off his 100th career assist. Victor Hedman, as I mentioned, his 587th career assist. He needs 2 to set the new Lightning franchise record as their captain, a record that has stood for a long time, held by Marty St. Louis. Brayden Point is climbing up the leaderboards when it comes to Lightning hat tricks and power play goals as well. Andrei Vasilevsky celebrated his 300 win about a month ago, a couple of weeks, but, you know, it just seems like a lot longer ago than it actually was. I think that's a different story, but we're getting off topic. Jon Cooper's 900th career game, I don't think is getting as much talk as it should. I think he has the second most wins among all NHL coaches in his first 900 starts. And he is one of a very small number of coaches who have gotten through 900 games with one team. Over 500 wins. I mean, he's already the best coach in Lightning history. I think that's clear. I mean, no other Lightning coach, even in the team shorts history, has achieved as much as Jon Cooper had. And, you know, it wasn't something that I think he wanted to talk about all that much because the Lightning lost. And even if the Lightning were to have won that game last night, I don't know if he would have wanted to mention it. I mean, the first thing he said in the press conference after Vazzy's 300th win was, all right, are we just getting right into Vasilevsky or are we going to talk about the game? I'm paraphrasing a little bit because my memory is terrible, but that quote, I think, epitomizes the kind of coach that Jon Cooper is. He is someone who cares about his players fiercely. And, you know, he's not there to get the spotlight. He's trying to shine all the light on his guys and really, you know, make people see them for the great people and the great hockey players that they really are. And part of the reason that I think they're such great people is because of the real community-minded atmosphere, I think, that Jon Cooper creates. The Coops Catch event has been such a big success, raising so much money for charities, and that is certainly not the only thing that Cooper and the rest of the Lightning do in the community. And I think that community aspect, in addition to his spectacular success on the ice, there are few teams that have achieved the level of success that the Lightning have in such a short time, particularly as Tampa is one of the youngest franchises in the entire NHL, yet they've still been one of the most successful teams of the past few decades, which is remarkable. And a big portion of that has been on the shoulders of Jon Cooper over, you know, his last 10 plus seasons with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I think he is someone that should absolutely, when you're talking about the best head coaches of all time, I think that he's someone that can be in that conversation. You know, maybe he hasn't had the longevity to put himself in that kind of company as the number one, but he has the 27th most wins of any other NHL head coach in history after 900 games. In terms of games played, the next closest to him, Bruce Boudreau, who coached 1,087 games. So he is I mean, he's going to need a double and more to his win total to get up to, Scotty Bowman or Barry Trotz. But I mean, he's doing it it's he's on pace to eclipse those record faster, and he's doing it with one of the best win percentages. He's almost got a 600 win percentage in his NHL career. And of all the other goalies or of all the other coaches, um, who are up there in NHL wins, and most of them have coached over 900 games, Jon Cooper's got a better winning percentage than all of them. Bruce Boudreau, Dick Irvin, Barry Trotz, Daryl Sutter, John Tortorella, all guys who have worse career winning percentages than Jon Cooper. And part of that is the longevity aspect of it, because all of them have played significantly more time. But Cooper and the Lightning are showing no signs of slowing down. We've talked about this year being framed as such a big rebuilding year, and the Lightning really haven't skipped a beat. Are they doing, exactly as well as they have in the last couple of years with Stamkos? They might have had more success with Stamkos there at points, sure, but for a team that is really made a lot of changes in the offseason, and there's a good portion of this team that was not with the Lightning, or not playing too much with the Lightning, if they were in the organization. There's a big portion of that team that is just brand new, and the Lightning, to be in playoff position, even at this early stage in the season, in a division that, yes, has been dominated by three teams, but they're still putting themselves in playoff division against a tough team, against a division with the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. One of the teams who just hoisted the cup, and the other one is a team that is a favorite to win it this year, potentially, and break a big curse. And, there's that whole thing with the Leafs. But the Lightning are still putting themselves in a good position as one of the better teams in the league, as a team that is going to be a playoff contender, and if they get hot at the right time, could be a Stanley Cup contender. But yes, the Lightning have some talented players on that team. Putting them together, that's Jon Cooper's job, and he does that better than I think maybe any other coach in the NHL right now. But while it might be premature to call him the best of all time, you can certainly say that about Coop and the Lightning. And you can absolutely say that he belongs in that conversation, because what he has done in 900 games with one club, the amount of success that he has continually brought through all the adversity with the Lightning, is remarkable. So a big congratulations on 900 games to Jon Cooper. Certainly someone I'd like to see get to 900 more games, win 900 more games, set some NHL records, because he honestly just deserves all the accolades. Great coach, a great guy. And it's reflected in his captain as well, in Victor Hedman, a guy who was an assistant captain with Steven Stamkos here for most of Jon Cooper's tenure as a Lightning. And he is now 2 assists away from being on the Lightning, being the Lightning all-time leader in assists. And with the amount of offensive talent that has come through Tampa Bay, to have a defender at the top of that list is impressive. And part of that is the longevity. Hedman has been a force for the Lightning. He's played for 15, 16 years. If he plays another season, if he plays with the Lightning next year, he will have played more seasons with the Lightning than any other player in Tampa Bay history. I mean, we can go up and down. We can make a whole show about just what Victor Hedman has done with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I'm liking what I'm seeing from him as captain so far. He's still a great leader. And I am still on my prediction that the Saturday after Thanksgiving, November 30th, Lightning are hosting the Toronto Maple Leafs, and during that game, Victor Hedman is going to get his 589th career assist. I still stand by that prediction. It's still like the Vasilevsky 300th win and fastest to 300th wins. It's one of those milestones that you looked at the beginning of the season. You looked at where Hedman was, the kind of player that he is. Same thing with Vasilevsky. And it wasn't a matter of if, but when for Vazzy's 300th wins. I think it was the same thing for Hedman becoming the franchise all-time assist leader. And, when all's said and done, he might not catch Stammer in terms of goals, but some of those franchise records might be in Victor Hedman's name at the end of his. But I'm still watching that by the end of this weekend, the Tampa Bay Lightning will have a new all-time assist leader, and his name will be Victor Hedman. If I'm right, I accept cash donations. If not, then that's fine too. But yeah, certainly something I'd like to see the Lightning. I'd love to see it happen, and it's something that the Lightning would be able to celebrate, right after that. The next game after this Saturday is another home game against San Jose, and I'm hoping that we have a Victor Hedman franchise assist leader video celebration, all that fun stuff after Thanksgiving. But now I am about to go eat literally everything on that Thanksgiving table that is waiting for me. But until then, I'm going to sign off. Josh Ferber here, thanking all of you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen every day. Now, for your second listen, make sure to check out Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steel and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if wherever you are listening to this podcast or watching it on YouTube, please make sure to give us a like, a follow, and subscribe. We do really appreciate your fan support because we do this show for you, the fans. So fans, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Please eat too much, but in healthy moderation. And in all seriousness, enjoy your meal, enjoy your time with the family, and go Bolts. We'll talk to you tomorrow when the Lightning take on the Predators.